The sun had only just begun to climb over the hills when the miller fastened the last strap of the harness on his old donkey. Dust already clung to his boots from the well-worn path, and his son, a bright-eyed boy just on the edge of youth, stood beside him holding a bundle of bread. The miller's beard was streaked with gray, his shoulders stooped from years of carrying sacks of grain, but his eyes were clear and kind. Today was a special day. He and his boy were leading the donkey to the market in town, where they hoped to sell the animal for a fair price. The road was long, winding through fields, across bridges, and past villages, and the day promised to be hot. Still, the miller was in good spirits. He had worked hard, and the donkey, though stubborn at times, was strong and worth more than a few coins. "Walk steady, lad," the miller said as they started down the road. "We'll reach town before the sun sits high." The boy nodded eagerly, proud to walk beside his father, proud to be part of the day's business. At first the journey was easy, the donkey plodding calmly ahead, the boy skipping a little at his side. They passed fields of wheat swaying in the breeze, their golden tops whispering like waves. Birds circled above, and the path stretched forward like a promise. Before long, they came to a bend where a group of villagers stood chatting. The villagers paused, watching the miller, his son, and the donkey. One woman laughed, nudging her neighbor. "Look at that foolish man," she said. "He walks while his donkey goes free. A beast is made to carry, not to wander. Why break your back when the donkey's legs are stronger?" The miller's ears flushed at the sound of their laughter. He tugged his beard thoughtfully. Perhaps they were right. Why should he, old as he was, tire himself on the long road? So he nodded and lifted himself onto the donkey's back, settling with a sigh. His son walked beside them, his small feet pattering against the dust. They hadn't gone far before they passed another group, merchants with baskets of cloth balanced on their heads. One frowned at the sight of the boy trudging in the dirt while his father rode comfortably. "Shame on that miller," he muttered loudly. "He sits like a king while his poor child wears out his feet. What sort of father lets his son suffer while he rests?" The boy's cheeks burned, and he glanced up at his father. The miller frowned. "Perhaps they're right," he said at last, sliding down from the donkey. "Come, lad, you ride for a while." The boy clambered up eagerly, his heart swelling with pride. He sat tall on the donkey's back while his father trudged beside him. But soon enough, they passed a band of young men lounging near a bridge. When they saw the boy riding and the father walking, they burst into laughter. "What a sight!" one shouted. "The young ride high while the old stumble along. Have you no respect for age, boy? Do you not honor your father's weary bones?" The others jeered, and the boy's ears burned hot with shame. The miller shook his head, sighing. "We cannot please them all, son." He rubbed his chin, thinking. "Perhaps if we both ride, no one can complain." So he lifted himself up behind his boy, and together they rode the donkey. The animal, however, snorted in protest under the weight, its hooves stumbling against the stones. Still, they continued, until they came to the outskirts of the town. There, a group of townsfolk stopped to gape. "What cruelty!" cried a woman, clutching her apron. "2 great loads on one poor beast. Look how he staggers. Do they wish to kill the animal before it reaches the market?" Others nodded, clucking their tongues in disapproval. "Heartless," someone muttered. "Fools," said another. The miller's face went red with embarrassment. "It seems whatever we do, we are wrong," he muttered bitterly. He slid off the donkey, pulling his son down with him. "If the sight of us riding displeases them, we'll find another way." In his frustration, he tied the donkey's legs together with rope, thrust a pole beneath, and with his son, lifted the animal into the air. They staggered along, the donkey swinging upside down between them, braying and kicking in outrage. Dust rose around their stumbling feet, and the road echoed with the strange procession. As they entered the town square, people burst into laughter so loud it rang from the walls. Market women dropped their baskets, children clapped their hands, and even the merchants leaned from their stalls, shouting with amusement. "Look at the fools!" they cried. "A man and his boy carrying a donkey like a sack of grain. Have you ever seen such madness?" The donkey thrashed and brayed so wildly that the ropes snapped. With a final kick, it broke free, bolting through the crowd and into the river that cut through the town. The water splashed high as the donkey swam to the far bank and scrambled away, never to be caught again. The miller and his son stood soaked and humiliated, the laughter of the crowd echoing around them. The father wiped his brow, his face weary. "Do you see, my boy?" he said quietly. "In trying to please everyone, we have pleased no one, and worst of all, we have lost what was ours to begin with." The boy bowed his head, his heart heavy, and together they trudged home, empty-handed. The donkey was gone, the market lost, but the lesson stayed with them, carved sharper than any pain of hunger. For they had learned that if you bend to every voice around you, you will break yourself in the end, and nothing will remain but regret. And so the tale passed from lips to ears, from parents to children carried across villages and roads, that those who try to satisfy all will end up satisfying none, and often lose even what they had in the beginning.